All right, hey guys, how's it going? Jake here, Dude Ranch DIY. It's a nice, calm, tranquil morning, and we're out here at the wood yard. I got 4 firewood deliveries to do this morning, and I'm out here with my coffee and my tape measure, and I'm finally going to, I think, put a little ongoing debate that I've had in my head to rest. So as many of you know, a cord of firewood is 4 by 4 by 8, no matter how you stack it, 128 cubic feet. Now, around these parts, I've been told that people that sell firewood generally, consider a cord to be roughly about 500 pieces. And an IBC tote, from forums and other videos on YouTube and on the internet and stuff, people say it's a little bit more than a third of a cord. The other day, I did a video and I stacked up an IBC tote, and I think it was like 236 pieces I got in, which is a little under half a cord, which I suppose is a little bit more than a third of a cord. But it surprised me how many pieces I fit into the IBC tote, and it made me start thinking whether or not I'm shorting or giving too much wood to my customers when I just throw in 500 pieces and call that a cord. So I'm going to bust out the tape measure, and we're going to do a little measuring on the pallets, how I have the wood stacked out here, and try and get down to the bottom of what a true cord of firewood is. Now, one other thing that a lot of people don't know is that a cord of firewood is a measurement that, came to be a long time ago when people had really big fireplaces. And a cord was, 4 by 4 by 8. And generally, the pieces of firewood that they were putting in their fireplaces at the time, because they were so big, were 24 inches long, which is why a lot of the time it would be 2 stacks or 2 rows of wood, 24 inches long each, which totals 48, 4 feet high, and 8 feet wide. Today, people don't have fireplaces generally that big. Most wood stoves don't fit pieces that big. So the expectations have shifted a little bit, and now people really like their wood to be about 16 to 18 inches in length. So just right off the bat, I don't think anybody is ever getting a true cord of firewood unless they're splitting their pieces to 16 inches in length, because 16 goes into 48 3 times. I cut all my pieces to 18 inches, and I give a little bit of room for air, to circulate through. I stack them up on pallets, which are 48 inches deep, and, 2 rows of 18-inch firewood with some space in between takes up the 4 feet. So that's what I consider to be a cord. But I'm going to bust out the tape measure, like I said, and measure out what an actual cord, I guess, would be on the pallets, minus the airspace in between the 2 rows. So stick with me, and let's try and get to the bottom of this. So this nice fresh pallet measures 48 inches deep, so that's good, and measures 40 inches wide, so that's good. So in theory, if each pallet is 40 inches wide, I think it would take about 2.5 pallets to get to 8 feet, which I'm at 8 feet right about here where this stick is, which is roughly 2.5 pallets. This pallet is a little weird. It actually is 48 by 40, but the slats on it are, sideways, so it looks a little bit weird. But 2.5 pallets, 1 pallet width, 2 rows. That's kind of what I'd consider to be a cord. So my first delivery of the morning is 1 cord of wood. This first one's going to be a little tricky. Well, not tricky, but kind of hard to judge on the 2.5 pallet rule here, because I had taken wood from this first stack previously. But we got 2 pallets here with 1 row of firewood. So, if I take up to this point where the second pallet ends, that would be considered 1 pallet full. And then I can take a whole nother pallet full right here, and then a half where I have this chunk of wood. So that would be about 2.5, and this is all the wood that would be in it. So I'm going to count the pieces and see how many pieces are you know, in this amount of wood and see how it adds up to my thinking that 500 pieces equals a cord. So I'm going to count the wood as I throw it in the trailer, and we will see if that amount of wood that I just showed you guys up until the little wood chunk there, how that, you know, adds up against my theory or thinking and what I've been told that, you know, roughly 500 pieces of regular size firewood equals a cord. So let's get to counting. So I've counted out 250 pieces so far, and this is what it looks like in the trailer. It's a good amount. Looks to be about, you know, a fair half cord. And here's where we are on the rack. We started out with this back row, just one single row full up to the top. And now we're over here. We got this wooden chunk, remember, as our marker, kind of, to show where 8 feet was from where we started. And it seems pretty accurate so far. We'll see. The only real way of knowing is, you know, by finishing out the cord. But I'm going to keep counting, and we'll see where we end up once we hit 500 pieces. See how accurate I've been. Now, guys, I do just want to say I'm making this video more for my own edification. This is my first year really, you know, putting in any effort to selling firewood. I've sold a couple cords here and there in the past to like friends and family and stuff. But this year is the first season that I've really gone out and like tried to advertise a little bit and really, you know, had a kind of somewhat of a stockpile, at least a big stockpile for me. So the last thing I ever want to do is short anybody wood. I'd always rather, you know, give them more wood, more than they pay for. That way they're happy and they continue to come back in the future. But I also don't want to be giving them, you know, so much more that I end up losing out on my firewood supply. So I just want everybody to be happy and it to be fair and sell it for a fair price. So that's kind of why I'm doing this. If any of you guys sell firewood and have any tips as to how you measure out a cord or your ways of loading it and, you know, distinguishing, that's not a word, distinguishing, that's the word I was looking for, how much wood, you know, between a half cord and a full cord, if you measure it out ahead of time before you stack it, or if you just stack it by the cord, you know, individually in different piles and stuff. I'd love to hear it in the comments section below, because like I said, I'm just getting into this, you know, realm of the game. I've always done firewood, but I've never really sold it and had to measure it out. I just kind of split it for me and my family. So let me know in the comments below. I'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to throwing and counting wood. $4.99, 500. All right, guys. Well, that was 500 pieces. As you noticed, I took off my sweater. I'm a little out of breath, sweating a bit, got the blood flowing. It's good. It's a beautiful morning. It's mild, not too warm. Let's see how we did on the 500 pieces, you know, counting versus actually measuring out a cord of wood, and see how the two methods of, you know, measuring a cord stack up against each other. Here is what we got in the Sure-Trac dump trailer. Let me take a quick walk around, show you. It looks pretty much like all the other cords I've delivered. I know I filmed a few, so let me know if you would agree or not. But it's a nice heaped up pile. Front of the trailer is not really full. Back of the trailer is kind of cascaded down a little bit. But, you know, looks like full cord to me. Now, like I mentioned before, I measured out these pallets, and they're each 40 inches wide by 48 inches long. I put this marker right here where I thought a full cord would be, and 500 pieces ended up right about here. So, I mean, whether one is more accurate than the other, it's, you know, kind of hard to tell. I'm probably gonna chuck a couple more pieces in there just for good measure because I'm an honest guy. But I'd say 500 pieces of, you know, regular size firewood. You know, not like bundle size firewood by any means, but, you know, some pieces are bigger than others, some pieces are smaller, so it all kind of evens out in the end. But yeah, seemed to be a pretty accurate way of measuring. Now, the one thing that does make me a little nervous is that this is the remaining wood that I have stacked up here. I have a bunch in IBC totes, but some of it's seasoned, most of it is not. I think I probably have another, probably 2 cords that are seasoned in the totes. So I'm gonna have to take the ad down pretty soon. I think the deliveries that I currently have on my list will probably eat up the rest of this wood. And then I still got to save a little bit more to fill up our wood room here at the Dude Ranch. But yeah, this has been a learning experience for me. I'm glad that I finally took the time to make this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed. So remember, if you guys like this stuff, give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button. You can hit the little bell icon next to it if you want to get notifications. Share the channel and videos with your friends, and we'll see you here next time at Dude Ranch DIY.